Welcome back. This is Alif with Kahve Cafe and Bohemian Baklava, and today we are going to make Gozleme or Turkish flatbread. Oh, I should turn my comments on before I forget. There we go. So we're going to make some dough. I've already made up some fillings. We have feta cheese and herb. We have some ground beef and lemon onions, and we have, off screen, we have spinach and onions. So that's what we got to fill them, if I can do that without spilling. All right, so to get going, we are going to start with our dough and get that going so that it can rest. And I have a bowl of flour. So I've got 3 cups of flour, and in the 3 cups of flour, I'm gonna make a little bit of a hole in the center. And I'm going to I've got 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt, and that's gonna go in. And then I've got 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, and that's gonna go in. Next, I have olive oil. So for a lot of you, when you make traditional bread, you're probably used to like the salt and the sugar and the yeast all kind of having a little happy dance in warm water and then adding it. And that's kind of it that goes into a bread. In Turkey, they add olive oil and they add some yogurt when they do some of their flatbread. So this is 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So that's going to go in. And then I have, finally right now, I have 2 tablespoons of yogurt. And that's gonna go in. And then I start with about 1 1/4 cups of flour. And we're gonna get messy. We're gonna mix it up. So you want warm water, and we're gonna mix this until it's all combined, and then we're gonna just cover it with a towel and let it rest. And while it rests, I'm gonna kind of go through some other stuff. See how it's coming together as a dough? It's pretty quick coming together dough. The thing that I like about this dough is it's not very sticky. It becomes almost like I don't know, it's pliable. Let's just put it that way. I think I need a little bit more water. Just a little bit. There we go. Whoops. Let's not spill the water, Alif. All right. I can't do this sitting down. All righty. My dough is just about put together. There we go. See? Dough. All right, let's get all my bits off. And we're going to talk about some other supplies that you probably don't have, but that's okay. We're going to kind of go over it. Okay, put this over here. Oh my goodness, it's heavier than I thought. We are going to talk Turkish rolling pins. Now, I know you probably don't have one of these rolling pins, but I want to show it to you anyway. This is called an oklava, and this is how you roll out that thin dough. I use this for everything. So while this rests, we're going to talk about wooden dowels. I cannot use one of those regular rolling pins. I can't get the flatness. This one, you roll out like this, and you can kind of go like this in a circle. And so you can really spread out the dough. So they have 2 sizes when you order them. You have the basic size, which is what I use, because then I don't knock things over and spill everything everywhere. And then they have this massive one. So this massive one, this gets the really big dough because it has a huge circumference. So a lot of this, like when people say, do you make your own baklava dough? This is, if I can keep it in the screen, this is what they used to use when they'd roll out, or as Turks would say, open the dough. So this would give that width. See how big it is? Now, you can either go online and find the oklava. It's Oclave, Or you can do what I did when I needed different sizes for my baklava, is go to Home Depot and get dowels. So this one is, I would say, about an inch. This is about an inch wide by maybe 24 inches long. So you can just go to Home Depot. I went to Home Depot and I got a few different ones for my baklava and rolling because I didn't know which ones I wanted to do. And so I went for like $1 or $2. I went to Home Depot and I got these. You can cut them to however long you want, and it can save you a ton of money. And I personally like rolling with the oklava way better than a regular rolling pin. The other thing that they use, because Gozleme is like a stuffed flatbread, and it's more of a village thing. When you go into a village, you see how they cook them. They cook them on a sach. And this is almost like a Turkish wok. You know, I had to rinse it off because it was a little dusty, and I have to figure out how to get my rust off, considering I don't use this because I don't have a gas stove, but this is how they would traditionally use it. So what they would do, and if you have a gas stove, you know, this would work great. I do not. They would put this over the stove, right? And the whole top part would heat, and then you would put your flatbread on top of that, and it would cook all on top of that. You could cook your fillings earlier inside and then flip it over and do the oklava that way. So I unfortunately don't have a gas stove to really take advantage of it, but this is how they would normally cook it over in Turkey. So I wanted to show you that. Let's see. And right now, let's see, what else do you need? You have your fillings. I have a little bit of flour here extra just because I don't think it's going to be very sticky, but just in case. You also need a brush because when we make our little bundles, you're going to need to brush them closed because we're going to pan fry them. And look, I got my handy dandy little burner here so that we can just all cook together in the dining room. Because I learned last time we don't move the computer in the middle of a live stream because it all goes black and you all hear me swearing because I don't know what's going on. So we're just gonna stay put today. So I've got my burner on kind of like a medium, and I've just got a flat pan just to cook them. And what we're gonna do, let's see, we probably didn't give this enough time, but we're just gonna try anyway. That's still a little fluffy. So I got my dough. And I'm just gonna try, can you see this? Yeah, you can see this. I'm just gonna make it kind of this long thing so that I can kind of cut them into even portions and let those rest. So I don't know about you, but when I cut my dough, I usually start in the middle and then in the middle, and I try to keep things as even as possible. So I have my little pastry cutter. Let's see how many we get out of here, because I have a tendency to double recipes. So let's see how many we actually get from one recipe. All right, so I got 8. That's what I got. So I'm gonna make these into little balls, and I'm just gonna kind of let them sit there for a minute. Let's put them over here. So I wish my table was a little bit taller so I'm not all hunched down, but considering I am in a little sugar house, I do not have a lot of room in my kitchen for all the stuff that I need to do. All right, because I'm dangerous with this big one, we're gonna put this one aside. I'm gonna use a little one. So I'm gonna take one, I'm gonna flatten it out. Okay, let's move the olive oil. Let's move the water. Okay, all right. You see, so can you see how I roll it? I just find it way easier to just kind of use this little thing because it spreads things out super fast. So I kind of want to get it pretty thin. So maybe like, I don't know, 6-7 inches in diameter, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Because if you don't get it thin enough, then it's too thick And if you get it too thin, then everything falls out and it becomes a huge, huge mess in your pan and you get really, really grumpy and you swear like I do. All right, so let's see. See how it's nice and pliable and it comes right off? So I don't know. That's about how thick that I'm going to go with it. So we are going to start. What I want to do is I want to kind of assemble them all, and then I'm going to pan fry them. We probably might not do all of them just for time, just so you guys can get on with your day, but let's just kind of play. So let's start with our meat, and you want to sprinkle some meat in the center. Now you don't want this too thick because you have to fold it up, but you know, it's kind of like you got to play with it to figure out how much. So I'm going to tilt this just a little so that you can see. There we go. So I'm going to fold it up. I'm going to fold it in. I'm going to fold it this way. So you want to make sure that you're making this little envelope. And then I just kind of press it. And we're just going to set it aside. Okay? And take another one. And we're going to roll it again. There we go. What I like about this dough is that it rolls out super easy, it rolls out super fast, and it doesn't stick to my table, which is even better. Because I don't like stiff bread with having to use a lot of flour, you know, and as you can see, it does not roll out so crazy well, you know, as far as evenly circle, and that's okay because it's very forgiving. I'm going to put our feta cheese in the middle. And there we go. And then you just fold it up and fold it in. There's our little pocket. The nice thing about these is that they freeze up really well when they are cooked. Now, what I learned the hard way was they don't freeze so well uncooked. So you remember that hurricane that we had in the summertime where it kind of knocked the lights out of everything for about a week? Well, I had a Gozleme tasting downtown and I had made like 40 of these. And I thought, well, let's just try freezing them when they're uncooked, right? Doesn't work so much. I learned the hard way. So what ends up happening is you can put them all in a container just like this, but they're going to rise. The longer they are, they're going to rise more. And then they all stick to each other. And then when you defrost them, they get a little soggy and wimpy. And so I learned the hard way. Do not freeze these unless you're going to wrap them all individually and then put them in the freezer. What I usually do is I make a double batch. I cook them up, I cool them, and then I put them in wax paper and they fit in the small little quart Ziploc bags. I put 2 in a bag and I stick it in the freezer. So let's see. Oh my goodness. My Adobe's coming up. Hold on. There we go. Oh crap. All right, here we go. Sorry. My computer's doing wonky things again. All right, so we've got, oh, we didn't do our spinach one. Let's do our spinach one. See, I get distracted when my computer does weird things. Well, at least that's not boring, right? So we're just gonna roll this out. Get it nice and thin. Oh, this one's cooperating a little bit better. It's not as wonky shaped. These are great for lunches. These are great for kids. You can make all the dough. You can pretty much fill it with anything. All right, let's get our spinach. Let's bring our spinach here so I'm not dropping everything. And you can mix them too, obviously. All right. Now over in Turkey, they make these like crazy big. So they'll make a big, huge circle and they'll fold it in half and you'll have this massive thing. I like them smaller so that I can stick them in my freezer and pull them out as an easy, quick lunch. All right, so we've got our 3 here. Do you see how I've kind of like sealed it here? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the sealed. See how that's the section? Can you see it where I sealed it all up? We're gonna brush it with some olive oil, okay? And then we're gonna stick it on our pan. And then I'm gonna brush the top. So while that is grilling up there, I'm gonna brush my other guys. So you can do all of this ahead of time. Get them all done in your little pockets. So then all you have to do is pop them on. So we're just gonna sit here and it'll just grill up kind of like a tortilla because it's like a little flatbread. And I don't know, I just use whatever thing I got. It's gonna take a second. And then you're gonna flip it over. And then it should get nice and toasty on both sides. And then you can just munch on it. If I keep these in the refrigerator, the way that I retoast them is I stick them in the toaster. So the toaster, when you put them back in the toaster, it will really like make them all crunchy again. So let's see, turn this up. So I have it on medium to like between medium and medium high just to kind of grill it up super fast so you guys can see it. Do you guys have any questions? Or you want to chat with me while we're like all grilling up together because we're kind of at a lull waiting for something to cook. So let's see. You guys doing okay with the snow outside? We've got some snow going on. Oh, we're starting to grill up here. So we're going to flip this over. And you can flip it back and forth until you get the right crunchiness or consistency. And everything will get all nice and melted and reheated on the inside. And I know you have a lot of fillings left over. So you can either freeze them for the next time that we all get together and do something. Or you can make some eggs with them. You can get some puff pastry and put some more puff pastry, or you can make an extra batch of these and just make a whole gazillion of these to go in the freezer. What I might do later on, and if I'm ambitious, I might try doing another live stream later on in the afternoon to make little kind of Turkish biscuits called poğaça, where you can fill them. You make a dough, again with yogurt and olive oil, but without the yeast. And I fill those, and they become like kind of like little Turkish filled biscuit. If I'm ambitious. I don't know if I'm going to be that ambitious. I might be pretty lazy with the snow and just kind of hang out on the couch with a book. Let's see how we're doing here. We're getting there. We are getting there. So as you can see, let me show you. Can you see? Let's see if I can lift it without sliding it. It's starting to grill on each side. And let's see if I can flip it without burning myself. When you started with that side first, the seam side, it seals it shut. So it doesn't open up and everything doesn't seep out. So let's see. And it does fluff up a little bit like a tortilla, but not crazy much. Like I know I cook tortillas and I get all these bubbles everywhere. But this will be a nice little chewy dough. And I did not bring a knife to cut it in half, so we will break it apart so you can see. And if you have a big griddle, if I've had a party, I've used a big griddle and I just griddled the whole, I cooked them all on the griddle. And they'll all cook like those pancake griddles. You get a ton of those cooked up in no time. But, oh, here we go. Flip it. See? And now, ooh, it's hot. It's hot. Hot. There you go. You can see the cheese is all melty and gooey and it's all cooked through. So I'm going to have a little bit of bite. Oh, see? Yummy cheese. And I just spilled on my computer. Anyway, I'm going to go cook up the rest of these right now after I enjoy this feta cheese one. They're nice and warm. I'm going to make some tea and enjoy my morning. So this was kind of a quick one. So the ingredients were 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon of sugar, a teaspoon of salt, 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, about 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 cups of water, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of yogurt, and you just let it sit for a little bit. You roll it out, you fill it up, you fry it up, and then you're all done. Okay, happy Sunday. See you in a couple weeks. I think we're going to be making, what are we making? Oh, stuffed grape leaves in 2 weeks. That's going to be a really ridiculously long session. So make sure you plan ahead. Okay, goodbye.